Hey guys, it's Michelle with First Priority Tampa Bay, and we are a student-led Christian organization, and we are in your middle schools and in your high schools. So definitely, if you've not heard of us, reach out to your school office, find out when we're meeting. We are here, we exist to serve you guys as a community. And like I said, it is led by your peers. So it's a really cool, comfortable environment. We want to meet you where you're at, wherever you are on your faith journey. You might be hardcore following Christ and living in the freedom of that. You might be asking questions as to whether or not God even exists. And hey, guys, we want all those questions. And we are here for you. And one of the ways that we want to help you out right now is by giving you some videos, just some practical helps to help you to understand and identify what emotions you might be struggling with, to give you some understanding based in science, based in scripture, most importantly, and also just some practical helps for you. And so we already have a video out right now on anxiety. And this video today is going to cover the topic of depression. So let's start by identifying what depression feels like. So a lot of people that struggle with depression will definitely feel low energy. That low energy might just be something where it just makes it a little harder for you to get up in the mornings, to get going, to enjoy time with your friends. For other people, that depression can be so bad that it's actually physically hard to get out of the bed. It's really hard to focus. Your grades may drop. Sadness is definitely a symptom of depression, but not everybody feels it. Some people just feel blah. They will say they don't have any motivation anymore. They just kind of feel discouraged. It's hard for them to be happy or hopeful in the moment. Depression can affect your sleep. You know, a lot of times we think that depression is just something that makes people stay in bed all day and sleep all day. And sometimes that can be the case for sure. But other people actually struggle with insomnia when they are dealing with depression. And so one of the common misconceptions is that if you can't sleep at night, you must have anxiety. And a lot of times that can be the case, but it can also be the case that you're so depressed that it is now throwing off your sleep cycles, or maybe the thoughts you're thinking when you're going to bed at night are so heavy and so sad that you can't sleep. People will sometimes lose their appetites when they're depressed. Sometimes they'll eat more. They'll stress eat. They'll emotionally eat to cope with those things. Substance use may increase with depression. You might run more to vaping or alcohol, or like I've already said, food, or maybe you end up using busyness to avoid your depression. But a lot of times what people feel, you know, one of the biggest telltale signs of depression is feeling hopeless, feeling discouraged, and very low energy. Now, I want to talk about the different stages of depression. So it is normal for all of us to have depressed days, and maybe even if there's a really difficult season going on, maybe you lost a loved one, it could be a depressed week or a depressed month. There can be times where we have short-term depression. And typically these are defined by situations in our life where we're able to point to it and say, this is why I'm feeling so sad right now. For other people, and so I should say with that one, that would just be something where obviously you would want to talk to someone who's safe in your life, talk to a safe adult, make sure you have space to process through things. And I'm going to give you some practical tips at the end of this. But for the depressed days, for the depressed states, that's more of a situation where we understand that likely a good night of sleep or the circumstances changing are going to also impact your mood. And so it's not as much of a concern, although it's a total bummer. I hate it when I have depressed days. Now, there's also more ongoing stages of depression. And so it might be, again, it could be related to something. Maybe your parents are going through a really bad divorce, or they're fighting all the time, or maybe you have a sibling that's got a lot of stuff going on. Maybe your guardian is just not really getting you and you feel alone in that. But regardless, it might be something where it's like going on long term. And so when we start getting into the place where depression lasts longer than a month, although a month we want to start keeping our eye on that for sure, but outside of a month, when it starts going for a while, we're going to start calling that a stage of depression. And that requires more intentional care. And so with that, there are also, I know I'm throwing a lot of stages out here, but when we're talking about depression, so we've got the depressed days, and then we have the depressed stages where it's ongoing, it doesn't seem to lift. A few things we want to look out here in this is where are we at as far as wanting relief? It is very normal that when we are depressed, we want to feel better. And it's also very normal that when we don't see an obvious fix to our emotions or a fix to our situations, we may get discouraged. And so when that happens, that's where some thoughts of self-harm or, suicidal thoughts start coming into play. Now, there's 3 different stages to suicidal thoughts. The first stage is one where it's like, man, I don't want to do anything to myself, but I'd be totally fine if I just didn't wake up tomorrow. And so what that is at its core is a desire for the pain to stop. And that's not bad, but obviously we want to look for other solutions outside of not waking up in the morning. So we're going to keep our eye on it if we're feeling that way. And again, it's really good always with any kind of depression to be talking to someone safe. Talk to your best friend who gives wise advice, or to a safe adult in your life. Ideally, it's always better to talk to an adult just so they can also brainstorm with you and maybe get you the help you need. But then there's a second stage with suicidal thoughts. And this is the one where it's like, man, life's hard. I want to die. And sometimes I'm a little bit tempted. I kind of think about what that would be like, but I know I wouldn't ultimately do it. I just feel more tempted. And so you might even think of some ways that you would end your life if you actually did it. But again, it's this idea of like, I wouldn't do it, but that temptation's a little bit stronger. The third stage, this is the one where you're going to, if you are at this stage right now and you are listening to this video, you need to reach out for help immediately. And I don't say that because you're some sort of freak show or problem child. What I'm saying is your thoughts have gotten so dark and the lack of available relief is so obvious that now death is sounding like the only option. And so we always want to reach out to somebody because they can help us to figure out a better way for sure. And that's always the case. And so again, that's why we exist. So here at First Priority, if you don't have that safe adult in your life where you need help, we want to be that organization where, we're not going to be able to personally walk with you through that necessarily, but we want to be able to get you to somebody who can. We want to be that safe place. We want to be your friend. We want to come alongside of you in that and then get you the professional help you need. So if you're in that third stage, here's what that looks like. I would like to die. I've thought about a way to do it. I have access to that way. And I'm actually kind of scared I'm afraid if things get much worse, I may take my life. And that is a situation, again, where you're going to want to reach out for help immediately. We are done at this point with trying to deal with it on our own. It's never good for us to deal with our emotions on our own, but especially in this moment, reach out to somebody. Reach out to that safe person or reach out to your teacher. I mean, not that your teacher's not a safe person, you know what I mean? But like reach out to your teacher or reach out to First Priority. We will find you someone to get you that help. Reach out to a local church that you've heard good things about. They will be there to give you the help you need. But don't do this alone. Don't do it alone. Now let's talk a little bit about when medication might be helpful. Now, again, this video, I am a biblically trained professional counselor, but your story is unique and what you need is unique. And so I am not telling you specifically that you need to be on medication or not. I always say, when in doubt, reach out to an adult and they will help you get to the medical attention you need. Doctors can help us decide whether or not medication would be helpful. But a general rule of thumb that for me as a counselor, I'm looking out for is if I have somebody that they cannot get out of bed anymore, if they are not able to do the schoolwork or the social activities that they used to do, that everything they are trying is not working, that is a signal to me that it might be time for some medication. And sometimes that medication can be temporary. It might be something for that particular season of your life. Maybe there's just been a ton of really hard things that have happened in your life in the past few years and you're depressed. So you might just need that medication for a little while to help you do the deeper work of figuring out what's going on and to heal. But then other times there is a biological imbalance that might be causing it. So again, this is why we always want to reach out to our doctors and reach out to a counselor because they can help us figure out what's the best way to do this. But guys, if you're ever struggling with wanting to self-harm or to take your life and you feel seriously tempted to do it, don't stay quiet. Reach out to someone in your life. There are, I promise you, ways to work through this stuff. I have walked with so many people that felt like there was no way they were ever going to feel better. And guess what? It will get better. God has set definite limitations to this stuff, and He will absolutely be there with you in the darkest and loneliest of moments. And so know that, and this is the most important part of depression, is knowing that you have a God that does not judge you. He wants to take you exactly as you are, whatever you're struggling with. Even if you're like, hey, God, I don't even know if you care about me anymore, or I don't even know if you exist. Talk to him about that. And then again, reach out to somebody. And then just to give you like a couple of practical things that can also help a little bit with depression is definitely watching sugar intake, staying away from alcohol. I know it seems like that's just something we adults say, but it actually does really depress you. And so also you want to like pay attention to exercise. Now, when you're depressed, you do not feel like doing an all-out workout, and that is okay. They have done studies that a 20-minute brisk walk, just like 20 minutes a little faster than how you normally walk, is enough to boost up the happy juices without really depleting your energy. And so that's a good way to take care of yourself too. But you know, being really gentle with yourself when you're depressed is one of the most important things you can do, because depression is so hard. But don't do this alone. We love you here. We want to equip you any way we can. But please, please know that God loves you way more and way better than we ever could. And so don't ever forget that that's the place to start off with depression. I hope this video helps you. I hope it will have you to think a little bit more deeply about what might be the things that are causing your depression, so that you can reach out to someone and brainstorm some better ways to do it. But this will end. There are absolute solutions. And so just hold on to that hope, reach out to somebody, and let us know if there's any way we can help.